Hello, this is Colin Liddell, the Chief Editor of Alternative Right, and this is the first Shortpod I've recorded in 2018. So, another year for the alt-right. Now, the alt-right is actually getting a little bit long in the tooth. It's been around for quite a long time now, and in March this year, we will actually have completed an 8-year solid period of activity. So what does the new year hold in store for the alt-right, and more importantly, what does the alt-right hold in store for the new year? In recent weeks, the alt-right has been dominated by an increasing presence on YouTube, which has been driven by various kinds of minor celebrities, minor personalities. And this is probably why Millennial Woes is the quintessential alt-right figure at the moment, more so than even Richard Spencer. Although Richard is bravely trying to emulate the Woes in various ways. Well, what's happened is that people have become more or less tired with reading the long academic style essay, which is where the alt-right kind of started from. Back in 2010, the alt-right was much more of an academically, intellectually driven movement. The quintessential alt-right site at that time was probably something like Countercurrents, with their standard 5,000 word essays on Evola or Nietzsche or Hegel, or some other arcane, over-intellectualized way of standing up for your basic rights. And then shortly after that, I guess by about 2012, 2013, we started to move into this kind of more shitposting kind of alt-right, mimetic warfare, trollish alt-right. And so from that period, the quintessential alt-right site would be somewhere like the Daily Shower, the Right Stuff. And that was also the period of the podcast. There were a lot of podcasts that sprouted up, and a lot of them were actually hosted on SoundCloud. And then last year, in the wake of Charlottesville, and even before the Charlottesville happened, SoundCloud were basically shutting down a lot of podcasts. And of course, a lot of the podcasts relocated to other platforms. But already there was a sense that podcasting was becoming old hat as well. And of course, now when I say something becomes old hat, I don't mean it completely disappears. I just mean it's no longer the edge, it's no longer the growing edge of the alt-right. So there's lots of podcasts which continue to exist and do good work and are very interesting to listen to. Likewise, there's a lot of academic articles that are actually very, very interesting, maybe quite time-consuming and attention-consuming in the effort required to read them, but there's a lot of value there. It's just that those kind of media are no longer carrying forth the growth of the alt-right in the same way that they were some years ago. And so what we see now is a lot of the energy is now moving to YouTube, and especially to a lot of these minor celebrities who debate each other, who argue with each other, who generate a little bit of drama. And so we're kind of moving into a new distinct period of the alt-right, which I would characterize as being personality-driven, drama-driven, but also with a lot of red pills and good ideas woven into the mix. So in 2018, probably we're going to see more things like we've seen in the last few weeks, where leading personalities in the alt-right, people like Millennial Woes, like Richard Spencer, were taking on the skeptic community with people like Sargon of Akkad and other more neutral people like Styxhexenhammer. And, this is great. People like this because you've got these ready-made personalities. They all have their distinctive images. They all have their little vendettas. They have their little alliances. And basically, it's becoming a little bit of a soap opera. I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just the way that people are comfortable consuming information about the world. Television programs have done this for decades. The soap opera is a standard format for people to engage with the world, to engage with various tropes and ideas and positions and moral signals and, fashions and styles and modes of expression. So the alt-right is now creating its own kind of world of soap opera. That's what I think. And I think that actually is it's a good thing and a bad thing, of course. In a way, the movement is becoming more feminized. It's becoming less autistic. It's becoming less strictly rational and logical. And it's becoming more touchy-feely. It's more about how people feel, how people relate, relationships. And that could make it a lot more appealing to a lot of people. And I think it'll serve to draw more people in. Some people will rebel against it. I mean, a part of me is already rebelling against it. I think a lot of this drama is quite time-consuming, not very efficient way of dealing with ideas. But the thing is, this is more like a way of projecting ideas rather than hashing out ideas and examining ideas. And it's a way of rolling out our message, I think. So this incarnation of the alt-right, this YouTube-driven, personality-driven drama-rama, I think it's actually a very interesting thing, probably a good thing. And we have to recognize that is where the energy is. So alt-righters who want to make the cut, you've got to get yourself a strong online personality, a bit of an image, and you've got to have a few catchphrases. You've got to have certain people you are allied with and certain people that you have an axe to grind with, a bit of a grudge. So when you come onto these various Google Hangouts, which are then posted on YouTube, then people are sort of waiting with bated breath to see what the next twist in the story will be. So that's where the energy is going. This is just a simple description of the landscape as I see it. So the main thing, as usual, in the alt-right is to enjoy the ride and to a certain extent to take a Taoist approach and to go with the flow, but also not to lose yourself in the flow too much. So strap yourself in and enjoy the ride, but don't be taken for a ride.